Hey there, it's 2025. The voice of boxing in association with Loungers TV is back. And we're back with a bang. We've got a huge list of wonderful guests throughout the boxing world coming your way here on The Voice of Boxing. And it's the turn of a challenger here for the European title. In action February the 7th in Sheffield, topping a big GBM show live on DAZN. And it is Shakan Pitters who is with me today. Unfortunately, not in our Mill Hill studio because you're deep into training, now just days away from what is, I think, Shakan, probably the most important fight of your life.
Yeah, for sure. Doesn't get any bigger as a domestic level than the European title. So I think yeah, it's obviously the next title and next step for me to the direction I want to head in.
Firstly, has training been going tip-top? Do you feel as good as ever? Because you've had periods of inactivity in your career. We need you back now and back with some
Yeah.
momentum.
Yeah, for sure. I've kept a lot of momentum within the gym, and that's as any fighter who has not got as much activity in the boxing circuit. Their main focus and what they could control, which I could control, is my gym time in the gym, sparring, gaining as much knowledge I can in boxing and things like that, ready to execute it when it comes to the actual main night where it matters. But I honestly feel totally fine. I don't think about rounds or gym activity. I feel good in myself. I feel fit. I feel like this has definitely been the best camp I've had for myself, and I'm in amazing shape for it and ready to, deliver and get the job done on the 7th of February for sure.
We met a few months ago. It was a big announcement for GBM, who are going places in the boxing world. You seemed really happy to be announced as one of GBM's roster, big fighters, and you want the big fights. You're in this stage now, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. I want the big fights. I want the fights with the bouts and the fights what makes sense, which is going to obviously make the checks as well. Obviously, it's a job as well. But for me, no, main focus is obviously get the job done the 7th of Feb and be involved in big fights in the light heavyweight scene. It's now, I believe, without being too biased, it is the best division within the boxing scene right now. There's so much competitive fights there to be made, and obviously with Turkey Al Sheikh on board as well, we've got there's good promoters, good backing elsewhere, good everything, and like now the platform's there with many things. So I feel like we've now got the platforms, we've got the drive in all the staffing team, promoters, everyone's working together. So why not make these big fights? And yeah, boxing's in an incredible position right now, and I'm happy to be in a good position in this boxing scene for sure.
It is in an incredible place. And Carl Davis, one of the young light heavyweights on the scene, he's 9-0, and he was ringside with us in Nottingham at a show recently. And he was saying exactly the same thing, that this is the place to be. The 12 Stone 7 Brigade, absolutely fabulous set of fighters. You've obviously shared a ring with the likes of Craig Richards and Dan Aziz before. You didn't get the victories, the only blemishes on the record. But do you feel a different fighter, a more mature one, as you say, to strike at this time where the light heavies, well, everybody's watching, Batebiev, Bivol coming up, and the whole load underneath them?
Yeah, exactly that, Adam. I feel like I have got better from those blemishes on my record. I've evolved better as a fighter. I'm more of an experienced fighter. I feel the experience on myself. I feel as in like I'm constantly learning, not the things of what I can do and what I'm good at. I'm constantly working on perfecting my game. I'm very much a perfectionist anyway in life, not just boxing. So I feel I do take the time to try and, you know, rub out any acute mistakes I may have as well. And I think those things add up to a better game. I'll be a totally different fighter in down the 7th. You'll see definitely a more mature version of me, a better version of me. And I feel, yeah, the Santos the right opponent for me to showcase that as well. He's a good opponent, only lost one, so he'll be coming for sure. And I love that. I thrive on it, man. I don't worry about what other opponents are on. I know what I'm gonna do and what I'm about. So I take confidence in that. I'm training extremely hard, man. I'm ready.
And last time I saw you was in the DAZN HQ in London,
Yeah,
and alongside Daniel Blender dos Santos with his team. Seems a lovely
yeah,
guy. He's got a great record. Obviously, that one defeat that we remember so well against Joshua Buatsi. No disgrace there. We know how good
Mhm.
Buatsi is, but he's strung a number of victories together. He's coming in great form. I think he's knocked half of his opponents in the wins category out. He's dangerous, and he wants that European title as much as you do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm dangerous, and I want that European title just as much as he wants it too. This is what makes it an exciting fight. You know, if he thinks he's gonna come here to my home, GBM home, and try and cause a mad upset, man, I can't allow that. You know, he's a champion. He's not lost many, but I'm also a champion in my own right as well. I've won numerous of titles, and we know how how it is here down in the UK scene as well. These things you can't just easily get these things, but I believe myself as a fighter, and for me, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that right now. It's more for my family legacy. It's more for myself and things. You know, I've got my belts and the hair and things, and I can't tell you how much I picked them up. But for my family name, and the people around me, you realize how precious life is, and me embarking my family's name on these belts. The thing what my dad installed in myself and my brothers, which I intend to carry on, means a lot more for me than the belts. So I take so much drive into the ring with myself with that.
I love hearing that pride in you. You're a wonderful
Mhm.
talker. You're a great advert for and an advocate for the sport. Take me back a little bit, Shakan. How did that childhood develop, getting into boxing and giving you that discipline and turning you into the sort of human being you are today? Because we love chatting to you. We love and
Yeah.
respect you and what you do in and out of the ring now.
Appreciate that, Adam, man. And likewise, I think you're great for British boxing. I've always said that on camera, off camera. I like your knowledge in boxing, you as a person as well. So I appreciate that, the feedback on myself as well. But in regards to getting into boxing, I wasn't even the best boxer in my household, I'll tell you that. I was the youngest out the boys. My other brother, Matthew Macklin, could tell you a lot more. He started in a gym with my dad. Even Matthew started with my dad, to be honest. My dad had him in the gym, training him, taking him to many amateur shows. His old man brought him in the gym. And he's just like, look, this is my son, you need to do something with him and things. And he wasn't troubled or anything. He's just like, obviously getting into boxing. And Matthew became even better under the wing of my dad. So being at home, my dad would always take me to the gym as my mum would be working. He couldn't leave me at the age of 6, 8 upwards by myself at home. So I'd be forced to basically go to the boxing gym. My older brothers, Andre and Anwar, were boxing at the time, but Anwar was the more prolific boxer. Like, he was representing England, he was a southpaw, he was dangerous, man. He's a really good fighter. So my dad, I was playing football. In the years later down the line, I ended up playing for West Brom, but my dad didn't allow me to fight at all. Pat Benson at the time it was, and Bill Meddins, rest his soul, I know he died. Um, but like he used to be like, let him box, let the boy box. My dad would be like, no, he's a footballer. But I'd spar other people who come to the gyms. Um, but my dad never allowed me to do it. Anyway, long story short, my brother obviously was the one who was boxing. He was the best out of all of us. But I then got to an age where I got released from West Bromwich Albion. Um, and then literally I ended up taking up boxing later down the years. I had my first fight at 22, although my dad brought me to the gym at, 6 years old, onwards up to like 10, or I carried on for many years in the gym. But if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be the fighter I am today. He's the one who put me on the pads and showed me how to throw a jab. He's the one who done so much for me and my brothers to influence me a lot into boxing.
It's interesting you starting in your early 20s. Fabio Wardley, I was talking to the other night, the same
Yeah.
again. He was into football too. How good were you? Should West Brom have let you go? Should they have let you have us in our world?
Yeah, they're silly. I think them letting me go was silly. Honestly, I was their top goal scorer consecutive years, and if they brought the stats up, they'd be able to tell you all that. Even when I was playing back, like in midfield, I still was their top goal scorer. I started as a striker, very determined. I was very fit. As I got taller, they then put me back in like this defense and things. I was still scoring goals from centre back, so I was very passionate. I was good at football. That was my dream. Boxing wasn't my dream. My passion lied with football. I imagine myself, putting a shirt on for the football team I like, Man U, which it is, but I wanted to be in the Premiership, representing a major club, but it wasn't meant to be. And as again, I thank my dad for everything, for allowing me to have this skill, to showcase my skill. Because when you see me in there, you see him in there. He's the one who gave me everything, all my foundations.
It's lovely to hear that about foundations and family and how crucial those are to support a fighter. You need great trainers and managers and promoters, of course, but the family unit is key, isn't it?
The what, sorry?
The family unit is key.
Yeah, it is. And that's what takes a lot of power for me, going into the ring. My family's amazing. The support of my brothers, the support of my sister, the support of my mother, and all my close family friends. It's amazing, and I feel that's where I take a lot of the pride and power when I walk into the ring. I do that ring walk. They're on my mind, so it's like, and it's just I enjoy what I do. Honestly, Adam, I just enjoy what I do. I enjoy the training, the physical aspects of boxing. Um, a lot of people see us boxers and they think, oh, we are mentally tough people, don't get me wrong, but we're human nevertheless. And I think what boxing does for me, my peace of mind, my mental, um, as well as the fact that I'm a very I'm one of those individuals where I'm very self-driven, and I like the fact that I get so much time. You get so much time. We train as hard as we can. We bring it together. I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. So, yeah, it's an amazing time, amazing sport, and I want to challenge myself with all these people who have either got the belts themselves, or who fans may think will make an interesting fight for sure.
You're very competitive. What don't you like losing at? What else?
Anything, anything. I'll take my daughter to the arcade. Even my daughter, she's only 9 years old. I'll smash her at everything, kind of. Honestly, you want to see our bowling score?
There's no compassion. It's straight. Yeah,
Nah,
I love it. Straight action. That's
there's no
great.
compassion. We're trying to raise winners, not people who run us up. It's all about winning.
Brilliant. The competitive edge is fantastic, I think, and especially fighters need that in the ring. The nice guy out of it,
Yeah.
the tough one inside. You've had those defeats in good company. How do you reflect on those? Were there times where you thought, I should have won those, and I need to get better here? What was that? Because you got to a level, and now you're getting on in years, although you haven't boxed for that long. So it's an interesting one. You're in phenomenal shape, so there seems plenty of time ahead of you. But how do you reflect back on those and to sort of stop that happening when you get to these levels, these European and hopefully world levels of the future?
Well, you can't switch off, and I think with Craig, I wasn't as experienced. Craig was obviously fairly to say he was more experienced than me, fighting the type of fighters he fought. But it was a fight I was winning, nevertheless, I believe. But this, like I said, this is why boxing's so beautiful. He's obviously been a pro before me, and it's not to say I'm watching his career, but he's been a pro before me. Of course, he's fought on the big cards and the Saudis, and he's challenged people. He's got to be happy with his career as well, and I'm happy for his career for him. But I have the chance to now move past all that and in front of things what he may have done and achieved in boxing in my short time. But judging from myself in that fight, I'm a complete different fighter to how I was then. My defense wasn't as good. And obviously being hurt for the first time in a championship fight, um, I didn't know how to, because things don't teach you, the gym don't teach you that. Well, it does, but it don't if you're not getting hit as much and certain things are happening. But I didn't know how to cope under that sort of pressure in the sense of being hurt, what to do, how my body would react, because I haven't been in that position many times. So now I'm better prepared, I'm better matured as a fighter, and there's so much more to my game than what I showed then. With Dan, I honestly would say it was a close fight. Nevertheless, cool. They said the better man won. I didn't box any particular instructions, if I, in all honesty. That same year, I was going through a lot. I lost my younger sister that year. And maybe I shouldn't have been in that ring in that fight, but you know what? Things happen and things make you mentally tough for whatever brings and what may happen going forward from that. But I fought Dan's fight. It's that simple. I could have exactly what like Lewis Edmondson done. You know, he just made it boring, made it simple, got the win. Um, that's how it should have been. But I had so much rage going into that fight. I believe I just boxed Dan's fight. And it's a hard one to look back on because I'm better than that. I'm definitely better than that. But yeah, all you can do is learn. I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm not gonna dwell on it. We're in a sport where we put everything on the line, and you possibly can take losses. So I don't dwell on that. I just move forward from that. I learn from it, and this is the things what makes champions, you know, and makes people better. The adversity, what you take, whether in life or in boxing, how strong and mentally strong you could come back from these things. And I think I'm better as a human and better prepared to do better in these situations.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear. It's tough, isn't it? And certainly at different
Mm.
levels of boxing, financially, of course, as well. You want to move into
Yeah,
the bigger picture. Turkey Al Sheikh has spun it all around and gives the
yes, yeah.
opportunities now. So you want to be in front of him. But it must have been tough time to time, sort of, paying the bills and probably having to work and do things as well. It's a hard life, isn't it?
Mm.
A boxer.
Boxing's a hard life, and no one actually sits you down financially unless you know smart people who will tell you what to do with certain things in your money. I'm very fortunate since I've started boxing, I've been full time as a fighter. Literally, only in my first year, I was working my last job at DHL. I left my job about what 7 years ago. I've been here, what, eight? It's my eighth year coming up to probably. So I left my job 7 years ago, and luckily with my fight money, the kind what I get paid, like I've always been good at banking my money and keeping my money banked. I don't live out of my comfort and all these. I don't buy silly things. What is just gonna add to my expenditure. Obviously, first check when I had one, for example, at Oatmeal Box, I made some silly choices, you know, but I enjoyed my money.
Yeah.
But now, being a lot older and wiser,
And a
you
dad.
know what to pri yeah, and I'm a dad, of course, so you know what to prioritize your money with. I swear, I think most fighters will tell you the first big check, they act like an idiot. They do something,
What did you
they do
get?
silly
What did
things.
you do?
Ah,
What did you do with it?
oh, just yeah, just loads. Like don't be wrong, I didn't do silly things, but I traveled loads. Obviously, I bought myself a new car, was out, I was doing the most things and, you know, buying little jewelry and things like that. And I was thinking, now I look back, I was like, yeah, them things look cool at the time. But what, you know, it didn't change anything for me. You know, I'd rather now invest into other things and sit down and make a better plan with my money because I feel like rather than rather than looking in that position like you've made it and looking like this position like you, I'd rather do things with my money which is gonna be more have more longevity than short term missions and goals on it really. So yeah, I'm working on a few things and things like that, which is interesting. So yeah, all as well.
I was just going to ask that because, of course, however long you go, it's not going to be forever. Another three,
Yeah,
4 years, or how long that the wins come and the big fights are there. But
yeah,
it's going to come to a day where boxing is no more, and you have to live your life. And I guess it's about
mm,
that transition, isn't it? It's about making plans and getting yourself structured
yeah.
and having a sort of life after.
Yeah, funny you say that. You know what? I've been looking into other business adventures for myself. Interesting fact, I've also been taking, I haven't really said this a lot, but I've also been taking flight lessons to becoming a pilot a little bit. So I've been doing that a bit. One, because it gives me the same adrenaline as boxing gives me. Uh, and I enjoy it. I think I enjoy traveling as well. And I think it's something where I could see myself pretty much doing. If it's not something where I'm doing commentary side of boxing or any analysis kind of work, I'd love to do something like that, which will um, take me away completely from boxing and have new means doing something else. Don't be wrong, I love boxing, but I just see myself more on the either that kind of role. Not that I'm trying to take your job, Adam. Your job's perfectly safe, you know that. But I'd love to do obviously something more on the commentary side, man. It'd be an honor to carry on boxing that way, rather than being a coach and things like that. I think I wouldn't have the patience for it, to be honest, to teach new people how to do it. I just think that as a fighter, I wouldn't. But I'd love to still be involved in boxing somehow.
You're a very sensible man. You've got some great opinions. You talk well. I'm sure there will be a spot for you in the media. The flying sounds another great avenue. I love the
Yeah.
idea of fighters thinking about their future and making plans. But let's get back to the present. We're days away from what is a huge fight and night for you. It's a big night for GBM, of course, back in and
Yeah.
Sheffield, and a stellar card. Shaq Thompson there, the farm boy Ed Hardy,
Mm.
Taz Nadeem, Reese Mould. I think there's loads on the card, but you're topping the bill. It's an honour. It's live on DAZN, obviously the home of boxing now. What's going to happen? What do you have to show on February the 7th, Shakan?
Get a win. I know what I've got in me because obviously the question is, people will be questioning, oh, Shaq's been out the ring for a year or so, but how is he as a fighter? He hasn't done 12 rounds straight away. He's getting on a bit. So these are the questions I'll answer. I'll answer these questions with no pressure. If I just do what I do in the gym and do exactly what I've been doing anyway with that, then I'll make it an easy night to work for me. The Santos is a credible fighter, but I've got the beating of this guy all day long. And that's just me looking at the credit of how hard I train. I've taken him very seriously, like I do all my fighters, but this one I've had a little bit more of a grit in my step, I believe. So I'm coming in great condition. I've had a long camp because I've not left the gym, so I've had a great camp, and yeah, it's an honor to obviously be straight in, top in the bill. Shows how much Izzy and the team believe in me, and as you mentioned, some great names on the card as well. So I've got to put on a great performance, look well doing it as well, and if we aspire to push forward with the momentum in the right positions, which I've mentioned, more titles, these are the big names, and I've got to look good doing it, and I intend to do that definitely on the 7th.
Okay, we won't look too far ahead, but 3 weeks later, we have a huge, massive, monstrous card in Riyadh, possibly the best of all time from top to bottom, and plenty of light
Yeah.
heavyweights a feature on that. How do you see the fights going there?
Um, who are we on about? Boatsy Smith.
Let's start with that. I mean, there's so many we could talk about,
Yeah,
but let's go in your
yeah,
division
you got a
first.
bit of all
Boatsy Smith.
the Boatsy Smith again, good fight. Can't call it in the sense where I can't call it because Boatsy is a young raw fighter. Callum Smith, someone who's more experienced, fought at world level already and things like that. May have shied a bit at the stage, but I feel like he's still got things in him. I've seen a few people feeling that he's past it, as they always say, and everyone has an opinion, but I think it makes a good fight. He's still dangerous. I think he's a good fighter. So is Boatsy. He's dangerous, he's a good fighter. And it all depends who shows up because they've both had bad performances as well as good performances. So it'd be good to see. I'm excited to actually see that fight. So yeah, it'd be a good fight. It'd be a really good fight to watch.
Gun to your head, who wins?
Gun to my head. If I had a gun to my head, I'll go with Boatsy if I had a gun to my head
And
because he's the younger raw fighter coming up. But again, he's had fights where he's had to get through adversity as well. But that's also made him a better fighter he is now. But yeah, he's a brilliant fighter, and I think Buatsi is a good fighter. He's a good fighter, yeah. To be fair, Buatsi is someone where when I first got into boxing. I mean, he was fighting the Olympics. I didn't even start boxing. Imagine how funny it is. I came back probably from one of my when I was out going through my holiday stages. I come back from my beef with my boys. I'm watching this guy in the Olympics fighting. He's the bronze medalist, and he got bronze. And then when I first started getting into boxing, I was doing my thing at cruiserweight, and then next minute for ultimate boxing things, I'm then sparring him. He's helping me prepare for that, and me and Boats has shared the ring many times now, and he has developed my game to a certain degree. Sparring the likes of him when I first started off, so yeah, it's good. I'd only want him to do well. To be fair, I'd only want him to do well, and I hope he does get the win. But it makes obviously no difference to me. But I do hope he gets the win because he's someone who's helped me as well.
Interesting words there. They're both great guys. It's a fabulous fight. Of course, top
Yeah.
of the bill, you have Beterbiev Bivol 2. First time around, controversial. I personally felt Bivol did enough. Others may have disagreed. What are your thoughts looking back at that and what we're going to get second time around?
I think it'd probably be a similar kind of fight, there's not much drastic change I think is going to be done at the elite level. I know they could make slight, you know, slight changes, but what you're going to get is Beterbiev is going to want to keep coming forward exactly how he was looking to land those big punches. Bivol's going to use his IQ. I think and again, it's easier said than done. Don't shoot me, don't thumbnail me, because people, I know an interviewer that thumbnailed me like that and everyone was talking rubbish. But I think Bivol, what he done well, when he held his feet, and I don't mean hold his feet and swing with a swinger. I mean hold his feet and use his lateral movements. He was slipping off the angle. He was coming off the angle. He was going high and low. Beterbiev struggled with that, and he was landing a lot more and heavier shots. Now Beterbiev has got a chin, so has Bivol. Obviously, they both have. But that was working. Now, don't be wrong. There's going to be times when you are fighting Beterbiev, you're going to end up on the ropes. Naturally, he's a strong, powerful light heavyweight, so of course you're going to end up there. But I felt that was working for him a lot of months, and when he did for a lot of the time side, but when he did lose the close rounds, it's when he was on the back foot, it's when he was on the ropes, it's when he decided to move his feet backwards and be on the ropes. But I'm no fool. I know in boxing you got to be super fit to do that. And I like Bivol's style over Beterbiev's. It's a style which I admire a lot more as a boxing fan and as a boxer myself. So, and it's crazy. What's so crazy about it is that when people are doing like the IQ test on who's got the best chin, IQ, boxing, speed, and everything, Bivol wins a lot of those over Beterbiev. A lot of people do go with Bivol with that, but Beterbiev's the one who's winning, and it just goes to show his will, and they're both at that elite level where it's hard to split them. I think the next fight can be closer, but I don't think it's going to change. I don't think there's going to be a mad change. I think Beterbiev probably does it again on points.
Okay, a couple of quick ones. Dubois or Parker?
But now Parker's tough. Parker's very tough. There's no quitting that man. Dubois is obviously powerful. He's got the momentum. He's on the whole goal. But I think Dubois.
Okay.
I think Dubois.
Dubois for you on that one. Let's just spin forward to April the 26th. First in the light heavyweight division, Anthony Yard is back. And I'm sure you'd love to share a ring with him or Lyndon Arthur. It's a good fight. Again.
Yeah, good fight. I think it's only right. It was 1-1. I think the first one, Lyndon kind of had more belief in himself compared to the second one. I think the second one, he didn't seem like he had as much belief unless he was nurturing the injury into that fight. It's like he almost accepted that Yard was coming back stronger, in a way. Whereas the first one, he fought very well. And I know Yard was going through his own issues, but he fought very well. He used the simple things. But I do see a lot in Yard to trouble Lyndon, to be fair. Like, Lyndon's a nice person. I get on with Lyndon as well. But I do see a lot in Yard which will probably trouble him because Lyndon doesn't like to work at he don't kind of like to work at a fast tempo, whereas Yard probably will try and make it uncomfortable in there for him. But again, it all depends who's up for it, man. I couldn't, Lyndon's a good puncher, he's a good boxer as well, and I hope he does well as well. So it's hard to split them.
Can you
Their
split?
trilogy is good.
Can you
Huh?
split Eubank and Ben? Can you split the sons of the legends?
Yeah, again, respect them both. I can do. If I had a gun in my head, I believe possibly Eubank. I think Eubank's very skilled. I think he's a lazy fighter at times, don't be wrong. Sometimes he could do so much more. But a lot of the times, when he's up for it, like when he came back after the whole Liam Smith uh, loss, he just shows a different level when he's ready. So it's like, yeah, it's he's out of the poker scene and the casinos a bit more than I'm sure he's gonna bring a mad level. But Ben will bring a lot of rage, which can go against him in that fight. I think if you can't control your emotions in a fight of that magnitude, which is obviously on paper his biggest fight to this day, and I know he's been in big fights, but if you can't control the hate for someone, man, it would work against you with someone against a Eubank who would love to try and get under his skin. But again, I wish both men the best. But if I had a gun to my head, that's what I'd be saying. But yeah, I think it makes a good fight. It makes a really good fight.
Intelligent thoughts, Shakan. A couple more before you get back to training. The last days ahead of the big European title challenge. Who do you love in boxing, fighter-wise? Who do you look up to? Who's somebody you just can't not watch? You really appreciate?
Uh, that's a good question. That's put me down. Well, for me, who I mimic my style of and who I love to watch is Thomas Hearns. And I'm fortunate to actually share a relationship with him in the sense where he's kind of like that background mentor where he does reach out to me. We talk to each other on Instagram and he offers me good advice. And that's someone who my dad looked up to. And it's just so happened that while my dad was watching these videos around the house, I'm that younger kid who's watching them with him. So seeing the movement and everything Thomas has done, he's someone who I look up to and watch a lot. I recently kind of like a lot more of Caleb Plant as well, which is strange, which people probably think strange. But you know what I like about him? It's more how he bounces back as a family man and what he represents. I like that about him. He's very good with that, holding down the family foundations. And I like his skill in the ring. He shows very good boxing IQ as well. Caleb Plant does. So I like a lot of recent things he does as well. But there's many fighters, man. Even like I said, Bivol Beterbiev. I like Beterbiev as a man of faith and how he carries himself. You know, he's not into all this flossing what a lot of fighters would do. He go there, show respect, to get the job done. He's back to his family, you know, and these are the values which need to be pushed out to a lot of these young fighters. And a lot of people are kind of cursed by the Mayweather persona, which yes worked for him, and it was a great way for marketing for himself. But in the real world, you want to carry yourself with dignity. You want to carry yourself with pride. We're representing our family names, and many people like myself are fathers or parents themselves. So yeah, it's a sport of discipline and manners and respect, really. So that's how I find it. The more mature me, whereas probably years back, I probably wasn't that way inclined as well. I don't know.
I love your attitude. I hope that we get to
Mm.
commentate together one day as well, because you speak so much sense. And as for Tommy Hearns, my hero growing up as well. So the fact you've got a connection with
Yeah.
him, wow, that's incredible. Hold on to that. Final one for me, European Championship, hopefully round your waist. February the 8th, you take it home. Is there a world title in you, Shakan, do you think, over the next 2 or 3 years? And how do you go about achieving that?
My dad's created a world champion. My dad's created a world champion in me. He's a strong man. So in honoring my family and his name, I'll be getting to that stage. I'll definitely be getting to that stage. I think for me, one step at a time has led me to this European title. Would you have asked me walking into the boxing gym at 22 years old, having my first fight? at 22 years old, being an amateur. No, sorry, I had my first fight at 26, then being an amateur. No, I had my first fight at 24, then being an amateur, a pro at 28. Would I be in this position? Yeah, because I'm a determined kid. I'm a very determined kid. So I only plan to keep elevating and keep going forward. So this isn't nothing where I didn't expect to be here. When I put on these gloves, I expected to be here and more. So I'm not ready to look back. People always comment on my achievements and things, and of course they're happy, but I'm ready to keep moving and looking forward. And I've got many years in boxing, honestly. I've not taken no punishment, and I'm only just learning. I'm not like a lot of these younger GB fighters who started and box from like 10, 12, and they're probably starting to fall out of love with it at my age. I'm pretty much in the prime and still working and still learning on my career and on my craft. So one step at a time. Daniel Blender de Santos, get him out the way. And yeah, there's big fights out there. And as I said, I've got the backing. I've got the best commentary guy on my side, Adam. I've got the best promoter right now out coming up and coming, and the best platform, GBM, The Zone. And I'm headlining my first show, so it's all made for me, and I'm very grateful for it. And it's my job to use all this as fuel and show on the night why I'm worth investing in. And of course, that's what I plan to do and get the win first and foremost.
Well, it's been brilliant that you've invested your time to talk to the voice of boxing today, a podcast we treasure because we love having great people on, and you're certainly one of them. Shakan Pitters, thank you so much. Wish you well. See you on Fight Week, and yeah, good luck in that European title. Make it an exciting, fantastic night for the fans and for DAZN on February the 7th.
Definitely will do. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate your time, and appreciate you as well, man, and your channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Shakan.
And hopefully we do get to commentate aside one of the days, man.
That'd be good fun.
It'd be a pleasure.
That'd be good fun. See you soon.
Yeah, it'd be a pleasure. Take care, Adam.
Cheers,
Look after
bye.
yourself.